Aloha, Soul Family. Welcome to our end of days, and that's DAZE. Just a little background. Slept outside last night, not something I'm unfamiliar with, but it's a little bit of a refresher for me. And since being in Hawaii, it's the first time where it was like rainy all night. Um, but this is part of the process that I feel like I'm going through, where I had the capability of being able to stay indoors. I did. And I chose to sleep outside. I chose this path that I'm walking. And this isn't something of the flesh, using Bible terminology. If anything, it was just like, well, man, why would I sleep outside? Why would I do those things? I would much rather be comfortable. I'd much rather be indoors, have a power outlet. There's so many things I would rather have in that kind of a situation. But this is what the the pull of God is. This is what the voice of God is. It speaks to us, and when we listen, we are empowered in a way that is beyond words. And I don't really have a script for today. I'm just going to kind of go off the cuff, basically like I always do. As you can see, I'm here. One of my favorite spots, you guys, for sure. Love the ocean here. Love the ocean. If you're familiar with my story, I was homeless on the mainland in the United States, and in an area that was pretty cold. And so I got to be homeless in a situation where there were shelters available, more or less because there had to be. In the winter months, people would freeze outside; they'd die. And so there was enough in the area that I was at where there was access to things. Here, at least on Oahu, and I would wager it's probably worse on the other islands, just because Oahu is the most populated. And so allegedly there should be the most resources here for the homeless. But from what I've seen, and I'm just kind of going through my intuition and what I've experienced firsthand, the situation is more like dire, where based upon what's available to me here, all right, we're talking about the whole island here. There's one shelter, all right, and I'm going to be nice about it, but I'm also going to be kind of forthwith. It's in horrible condition. It's infested with bed bugs and infested with gangs. All right, and I'm trying to discern whether or not to reveal more than that. But let's just say it's infested with gangs. All right, on all levels. Okay, it makes it an unsafe place. It makes it unsafe spiritually. It makes it unsafe to some degree physically, and I would say very much physically so. On all levels. Uh, and so on that level, I knew that my time in a room was coming to a close. I probably had the rest of the month before things would have gotten more conflictious with the individual who was allowing me to stay there. But I had already left a situation with another person, and this other person then offered. And the thing about the voice of God is that we got to listen to it. And so even when other people are saying physically, oh no, you can stay here, you can do this, it's about also reading more into the situation when you can. And this is what's so interesting, is that I guess not everybody has this ability yet. I would say it's something that I can do very cleanly. I can hear the voice of God. It's very resounding, you guys. The only times where it's more difficult to hear is when I'm involved in a state of confusion. And that state of confusion is usually an excuse to indulge in behaviors and patterns which are familiar. All right. And so this is what I also mean when I say generational trauma, generational curses, is we have inherited certain patterns from our family that are comfortable energetically, but they are very toxic and poisonous to our well-being, and obviously the well-being of others as well. And so I'm able to see that more clearly, especially as I've gone through my own awakening, cleansing, whatever you want to call it, redemption. I mean, there's so many different ways to say it, and it's an ongoing process for sure. But there is something that has been changed within me, you guys, like for real. And it's this peace. It's this kind of a peace, you know. It's been about 6 months since I've been here on Hawaii, on Oahu specifically, but on the islands of Hawaii. And the whole time I've been homeless. All right. Yes, I've had shelters for just a little bit of time. Yeah, I've been housed in the rooms a little bit of time, but I'd say probably 4 months a time. Yeah, we'll go 4 months at a time. I've been on the streets, you guys. I've been sleeping on the streets, and it was different in the summer, where it's going to be interesting being out here in the rain, but I've also had more experience. But it was scarier, more uncomfortable when I was first here because I hadn't awakened yet, because I was still in the process of letting go. It's like the easiest thing for me to say, where it's just like, yeah, I'd done a lot of work and I'd done good. I've let go and transmuted poisons, and starting was felt like I was on the path, but still unclear with the path, and there were still certain habits and patterns that I was holding on to, I guess is the best way to say it. And the one, if I may, which I know a lot of other people could probably identify with, some of them are related to each other. And so as we participate in one, addictive pattern or structure, it will lead to other patterns and structures too. So what I mean by this, I'm just going to give an example from my own life, which is, and it's layered, and so I'll do my best to kind of put it into words, but it's people pleasing. All right. Now, genuinely speaking, I do care about other people. I do want them to be happy. All right. Um, and as someone who is sensitive in the way where I can pick up on people's energetic frequencies, of course, I want them to be happier because it allows a more peaceful environment for me to be in. Um, and this was probably structures and patterns from my childhood too, things that my parents inherited. Okay, where they had to placate their parents, and so on and so forth. Their society, their teachers, whatever, their authority figures. All right. So from both my dad and my mom, I kind of had this dual-sided thing where I wanted to please authority, but I also completely rejected and wanted to rebel against authority. And going along my path, um, I've been able to kind of discern what it is that I really wanted inside my heart, what's always been there. Because the truth is that real authority, I love real authority, you guys. I want to do what real authority tells me to do, because real authority has my best interests at heart. Okay, at heart, it has my best interest. It has everyone's best interests at heart. That is true authority. All right, that's the only authority that I will listen to. Okay, any other what I call man-made authority, it's an agreement. All right, if it's serving true authority, wonderful. I'll listen to it. If it's not serving real authority, yeah, chug off. Who are you to tell me anything? All right, and this is the beauty. This is the beauty of this power of listening to the voice of God. And so, I know I'm kind of jumping around here, but going back to the people pleasing aspect, I can see that in other people. And there's a dual side nature of people where they want to rebel against authority. They want to, and made authority, okay? They want to be capable of walking in freedom from tyranny. However, they are limited based upon programming and structures and patterns that they have yet to let go of. And this is also why it's interesting. But God has placed me in the lives of people in order to be a catalyst many, many times, more often than I even expected. It wasn't something that I ever really focused on. I wasn't ever just like, hey, God, place me in the lives of other people so that I can awaken them. All right. It was never something that I really did consciously, per se. If anything, I was always coming from a place of lack or scarcity, where I was like, oh, God, please help me find my soul family, my soul tribe. Let me find people who are like me. And maybe this is still in that direction. But it was in the process of placing me in people who were not like me at all, who have chosen other things very contrary to me. Um, at the same time, it gave me the opportunity to let go of patterns and behaviors that I no longer had any resonance with, but that were just comfortable, that were habitual. And a lot of this had to do with individuals, people. All right, not even particularly habits, like physical habits. Some of them were. I mentioned coffee here before. I won't go into any more details about some of the harder things that I've been exposed to and that I've dropped. But ironically enough, I think coffee is actually a very hard thing to drop as well. Um, but I won't get into too many details at this moment. That's not important. Um, what is important for this particular video is seeing those patterns. All right, and as I said before, the reason that I needed coffee, all right, the reason that I needed other things to prop me up was because of how I was participating in my relationships. All right, yes, with people, but also with society itself. The more that I felt like a slave of society, the more that I felt like I had no choice, the more I needed these other external things to prop me up, like coffee. All right. And I won't get into more details here because of what it is, but just it's more than that. All right. But those patterns and behaviors from that relationship factor would cause me to go into other things in order to cope. And so that is also how I see a lot of the world here, is that we are being led into cope in so many different ways, you guys, where if we just address the pattern, if we really address the core part of the issue, the foundational issue, the core issues, then the other symptoms and things will fall away naturally. All right, we'll lose the desire to patch up something if the wound is healed. All right, is the best way to say it. And so this is part of my stance, and it's why, yeah, me being homeless again. I mean, like straight up homeless. I mean, back on the streets homeless, because living out of somebody's house is still being homeless. All right, I'm gonna be honest, you guys. People who have never experienced that, living in somebody else's house. All right, that's something like you'll understand what I mean. All right, it's walking on eggshells every single moment. All right, and it's one of those things where if I do get into a place where I own a house, own. But if there's a place that's under my stewardship, I'm going to be very careful about who I allow onto the grounds. All right, and that'll be a fun endeavor if I ever get into that. But that's neither here nor there. That's neither here nor there. I just wanted to kind of put that out there, you guys. I kind of want to wrap it up, keep it under 15 minutes. I think that's a very good time. I went on a rant the other day, so we'll kind of keep it at that. So to summarize, yeah, guys, address the real patterns. And then the other things which are unfavorable or that we do to cover up the insecurities. If we address the core insecurity, we'll be taken care of, all right? And it's about following the voice of God, you guys, seriously. Even if it's going into places that might be fearful. All right, just like this. I have felt so good going into this new bout of homelessness, or I have street homelessness, and it has showed me that I am listening to God, all right, and that we can listen to God. You can listen to God. We all can. And I'm just listening to these videos, you guys. If you're listening to me, wonderful. I don't even know what to label these yet. I'm trying to find the audience status, but I have to kind of let go. I'll be guided in the right direction. So will you. So will the algorithm. So I thank you for your patience with me, you guys. I'll just keep it at that for today. Um, Peace out. Love within. Catch you guys on the flip side. I gotta stop it.